Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing well today. Today's topic is going to be on trauma bonds, what they are, how they're formed, and what we can do about it. So I want to wait till a few more people hop on here. If you are joining me, then drop a like, drop a heart, drop a comment. Let me know that you're here and let me know where you're watching from. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I always love to learn where everyone else is from. So if you are watching the replay, then hashtag replay, and we'll go ahead and get started. I know that a couple new people just joined me on here, so wave so I know, so I can see who you are. So for those of you who are new to me, I have quite a few new people in the group, and my name is Morgan Danielle, and I am a life coach and Reiki practitioner that specializes in helping women overcome trauma and release dependency on food, alcohol, substances, and toxic relationships so they can finally live a life of freedom and empowerment. Hi, Jasmine. So excited that you're joining today. So I have had quite a few of my own experiences. Hi, Rayleigh. I've had quite a few of my own experiences, which is actually why I got into this work. I struggled with toxic relationships from the time I was 13 until probably till the time I was 25. So there's a long period of time there. And I actually experienced my first trauma bond at 13 as well. So I got into this work because I had gone through all of this. I was depressed, I had anxiety, I had PTSD, I was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and then when I kind of found my way, I wanted to help other women as well. Hi, Alyssa. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit, I want to give you a little bit of background about my experience with trauma bonds. So I had no idea even what a trauma bond was. From age 13, I had my first abusive relationship where I was physically abused, emotionally abused, and sexually abused. And so I never really understood kind of what was going on. I didn't understand, I didn't put it together that this person was abusing me because I kept going back. So I always thought like, oh, it must not be that bad because I continue to go back. And that's where I feel like a lot of women have this shame and guilt from, because you feel like maybe if you keep going back, then you deserve it. Or if you continue to put yourself in this situation, then you deserve it, which is completely untrue. What happens is we get addicted to these people and we get addicted to these emotions. So that was my first trauma bond. And I was kind of hopelessly addicted to that relationship until he passed away. And then my second trauma bond was with my daughter's father, where I was cheated on, gaslighted. He would physically abuse me only a couple of times. It wasn't an often occasion, but there was physical abuse, and there was a lot of emotional and mental abuse. And he had also threatened to end my life. He threatened me with a gun. He threatened me with a knife, and it was kind of an ongoing thing for about 5 years. And ultimately it ended in a restraining order. And I continued to go back even after I got a restraining order. And ultimately he passed away as well. But I still feel that if he was still here, I would still be very much attached to him. So these trauma bonds, what they are is that they're a cycle of physical and emotional abuse that creates a strong attachment between the abused person and their abuser, reinforced by periods of love and affection, and then periods of devaluation and emotional abuse. So when you're constantly experiencing these highs and these lows, you're releasing adrenaline, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine and cortisol. And that all causes a powerful biochemical reaction, which continues to fluctuate throughout each phase of this abuse, which causes you to become addicted to these emotions. So it's not your fault. It's not a lack of willpower. It's not, it's not a lack of willpower. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're stupid. I know that when I was going through these things, my family, they didn't understand. My friends didn't understand. It was kind of like, oh, look at Morgan. She's going back to her abusive relationship yet again because she's immature. She's self-destructive. And, those were kind of the things that I heard, which also made me feel pretty shameful. And there was a lot of guilt around that. But what I didn't understand at the time, and what my family and friends didn't understand at the time, was that there is an actual, real, very real addiction that happens between a abused person and their abuser. So, I wanted to, if you're questioning whether you are experiencing a trauma bond, I want to give you guys some signs of what it's like being in a trauma bond with someone. So if there is a pattern of non-performance, so if they continue to make promises and they don't come through and they constantly let you down, that's a sign. If you feel like you don't like or even trust that person, but you feel like you can't leave. Your friends and family have advised you against this relationship, but still you stay. Others seem disturbed or shocked at the things that have happened to you in this relationship, but you kind of brush it off and feel like it's not a big deal. You know that there is sometimes abusive behavior, but it's not all the time. So you try to focus on the good in them. Also, if you continue to make excuses for these people, for your abuser, you try to reason and say it's because they had a bad childhood or they went through something traumatic, so this is why they are the way they are. So you begin to make excuses for them. And if you know that you're being manipulated, but you are often in denial, or you try to block that out and quickly forget the bad feelings. And also if the relationship is inconsistent, you do everything to please them, and you're unconditionally loyal, and you're not getting anything in return. So if any of these resonated with you, I've resonated with every single one of them, then that is a sign that you have, or that you are experiencing a trauma bond. So trauma bonds are formed over a two-step process. And the first step is love bombing. And love bombing is a practice of attempting to accelerate feelings of romantic love with displays of like intense attraction or adoration. And it's where these people are abusers. Usually it's the narcissist. It's where they overwhelm you with these really good feelings, really kind of hooking you with these intense emotions. So often you would probably hear them say, you're the perfect person for me. Nobody understands me like you do. We're soulmates. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever met. And yes, these sound absolutely amazing, and healthy relationships do have this too, but it's that needing you to feel needed and special so that they can hook you. And a lot of the time it's very quickly that they do this. It's not they do it within first meeting you or first being in a relationship with you. They make you feel like that you complete them. And so once you start getting that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm so perfect for this person, this is my soulmate, we're gonna get married, we're gonna do all this stuff, and this is like happening fairly quickly, then once they know that they've won you over, that's when the switch flips. And so the second stage is cruelty. So this is where they know that you're hooked. They know that they kind of have you wrapped around their finger and you guys were in this honeymoon phase, and then all of a sudden it switches, and this is where the cruelty comes out. So when you are not acting accordingly to them, then they say that you're being ridiculous. They will tell you that if you have a problem with something that they said or they did, they're going to lie to you and say, I never did that. I never said that. And it's going to make you start questioning your sanity. They'll begin to compare you to their ex-girlfriends or boyfriends. And they'll say, you're never here for me. You don't treat me like my ex did, and she loved me. And so they'll start calling you names. I know that in my relationships, the two that I had extreme trauma bonds with, I was always called a slut, a whore, a bitch, a lot worse than that too. And it was a constant thing. And so you're constantly being beat down by this person when you don't act or do as they say. And another thing that you'll hear them say is, good luck ever trying to find someone as good as me, or nobody else is ever going to love you. That was something that was said to me, and it was said to me so often that I began to believe that I had to stay with this person because he was the only person that was going to love me, even though he treated me badly. So when your abuser, when the narcissist is saying these things, it makes you start to question yourself. You're like, did he really not say that? Am I making that up? Did he really not cheat on me and this is all in my head? And you'll start to go down this rabbit hole of questioning, are my feelings really ridiculous? Do I have a right to feel this way? And where was I going with that? I was reading the comments and I got distracted. So now that you're kind of aware of what these processes are, and how these trauma bonds are formed and what these trauma bonds look like, now we want to talk about how we can overcome it. So the very first step is acknowledging what has happened to you. A lot of the times we want to brush this off and act like it didn't happen, or that we don't validate our own feelings. If somebody is calling you names and they are physically and emotionally hurting you, that's a really big deal. But the fact that that you have been putting up with it for so long, and the fact that somebody has told you that your feelings aren't valid, you become numb to that. So we have to acknowledge what has happened and how that's truly made us feel, and know that it's okay to feel that way, and that you have every right to feel that way, and start to get really clear kind of how this person has been a destructive part of your life and all the destruction that they've caused. So the second is that you have to disengage. You have to separate yourself from this person, and that's really painful. It's a cycle. I'm sure that if you've been in this situation, then you've disengaged, and then you've gone back in, you've disengaged, you've gone back in. But it needs to be a long enough period to where you can actually detox from this person and from the destruction that they've caused. The third is to forgive yourself. So a lot of the times when we begin to get out of this abusive relationship, we can start to really blame ourselves, and we think, why did I put up with this so long? Why didn't I leave before? It can go into like this negative self-criticism spiral where you think that you're stupid, that you couldn't see it, And you can, and you start to think of how you basically ruined your own life by staying with this person. But like I said before, it's not something you could have seen while you were in the relationship because of all the gaslighting. I feel like I'm getting emotional. I didn't expect that. I love what I just saw a comment. It's like detoxing from a drug. That is exactly what it's like, because it's the same, you're getting the same chemical reactions as you would on a drug. But what I think is harder, I honestly think breaking a trauma bond and breaking codependency and breaking these things is, in my experience, it's been harder than quitting drugs and alcohol, because it is, because I think that it's harder because when you quit drugs or alcohol, you completely cut that out of your life. You're not getting high anymore. You're not getting drunk anymore. But when you are quitting a trauma bond, you still have all these thoughts and feelings that have been instilled in your brain. You still feel very much in that relationship and in that connection. And it's not something you can just take away. It's something that you literally have to rewire in your mind now, and create new thoughts that are completely separate from the lies and the deceit that you have experienced during this relationship. And then the third or the fourth. Yeah, I'm seeing my comments now. It's constantly questioning your self-worth. A lot of the times when we're in one abusive relationship, it doesn't just stop there. It continues to become a pattern, because if that trauma bond isn't broken, even though it's broken with that person, you're still stuck with that those emotions, and you're still stuck with those feelings of low self-worth, with those feelings of despair and hopelessness. And so then what that does is as it opens a door for another abusive person to come in, because they prey on people that don't have on people that have low self-esteem and low self-worth and are insecure. And when we feel that way, on accident, we attract those people. It's subconsciously. So the fourth thing is connection. So during this time when you are in this abusive relationship, a lot of the time, we separate ourselves, we isolate ourselves from our friends and family, because they can see the abuse and we can't, or we are choosing not to. And so it creates that kind of that block and that wall in between friends and family. So getting that connection with your family and connecting with yourself and the people that truly do care about you, that's going to, like, that would be your parents, your siblings, and even your children if you have them. Getting that connection and building that connection and making it stronger. So that's going to help you kind of move away from the toxic relationship and build new, more fulfilling ones that you've always had, but because of this abusive relationship, it caused you to isolate. And then developing new hobbies. When you take something out of your life, no matter what it is, if it's a toxic relationship, if it's drugs, if it's alcohol, no matter what, you have to put something else in its place, or else you will continue to look for, you'll look to that person or substance to fill that void. So when we create new hobbies, when we start to make ourselves busier with things that we love, we start to release those happy hormones that we got at the highs in that abusive relationship. And so by cultivating new hobbies, you could start having like a yoga routine or going hiking. Start crafting, or honestly, like get a puppy. I've been working on overcoming codependency, and honestly, like getting a puppy has really, really helped me. And so we want to acknowledge everything that we've gone through, but we don't want to dwell in it. We have to acknowledge it and process it and forgive, but we can't stay in those feelings because that's what's going to destroy us. So by cultivating these new hobbies, you're learning about yourself. You're kind of creating this new identity, because when you're in this abusive relationship, your identity is gone. You're not allowed to like the things that you like. And if you do like something, or, want to do something, oftentimes you're told that you're stupid or what you like is stupid. That was a major thing for me. And I still struggle with the limiting belief of the things I talk about are stupid, or the things that I like aren't important. Just because for 5 years, somebody told me that every time I voiced my opinion on something, I was told I was stupid. So, we have to create those new identities and know that it's safe to do that. So you create that new identity by creating new hobbies, by creating new routines and experiences that will release that happy hormone in your brain, so that you don't continue to look at the past and go back to your abuser. So, I hope that this was helpful for you all today. If you have any questions about trauma bonds, codependency, abusive relationships, or if you're stuck in this and you don't know what next step to take, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I am only a DM away, and I am here to support you any way that I can. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and yeah, have a good rest of your day. All right, bye guys.